This is Charity, and for the purposes of today's webinar, we're going to go through how to use Inq-ITS as a Google Classroom teacher. So you can see that I have my account connected to Google, and then I have currently 7 active Google classes. Obviously, those would be from last year for me, so I would want to archive some of the old ones and make sure that I have new Google classes before I assign activities. So for these purposes, I'm logging in as a new teacher. We highly recommend that everyone starts off with just the basic tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and assign tutorial 1. Now, notice that my Google classes are automatically being posted here. If I wanted to actually assign a due date and publish those, I could do that here. Or I can just assign to my first 4 classes. And if I don't click publish, then these are going to go into my Google Classroom as drafts. And so that's what I'm going to choose to do because I'm not ready to publish those yet. So I'm going to assign the basic tutorial. Now, what the basic tutorial does is it allows the students to interact with this inquiry lab with qualitative data only. So I'm going to be able to get assessment scores on their ability to build a hypothesis, on their data collection skills, their analyzing skills, and then they're going to actually write a conclusion and claim evidence reasoning format, and that will be scored. But I will make this as simple as possible. It's only one driving question, and so they should be able to complete this in about 15 minutes. It's great for them to log into Google Classroom for the first time and just get started with this. So I'm going to assign that or use it as an entry task. So I'm going to assign that to my classes right now. And now there's a couple of different ways that I could do this. I can go into Google Classroom and I can update and go to my drafts and assign it from there. I could click update and I could choose to post it and make it live from here. If you weren't using Google Classroom, you could use the shareable link with any LMS, or you could write the website and give the students the code for each class on the whiteboard. So from here, what I can do is assign these activities. I could go in and I could look through the other activities. I could assign phase change or density or some other activity. That's a great way to start the school year. Or I can go in here and just kind of play around, which is what I want to do with you right now. So when you go to your students tab, you're not going to see anyone because I haven't had any students start the activities yet. But once they're registered, I will see all of my students here. For the reports tab, I'm not going to see any reports yet because students have not seen that yet. They haven't started, so there's no data in there yet. But we'll get to what you can see in reports later when we look at the help and resources. And then Inq Blotter, same as reports. You're not going to see anything yet because there are no students active yet. So I can see that it's working, which this is a really good idea to do this, make sure it's working. I don't recommend actually trying to act on this data during the first tutorial because the alerts will be so significant that unless you have an extremely small class, it would make it rather alarming to try to run around and handle all of these alerts. So it's nice to look at them the first time, but really I would start to use this data after your students are done with the tutorials. And again, you're not going to see any data right now because there's no students logged in and completing activities. If you need to change your email address or you need to update and link to Google, you would do that in your settings tab. Now let's talk about help and resources. With help and resources, you can get the information you need about the inquiry reports, right? What do the different colors mean? Dark blue means proficient, light blue is intermediate, and orange is novice. You can see all that information, get an example of what your inquiry reports are going to look like, and other information here. One of the things that I really enjoy giving students right at the beginning of the year is some students need this getting started for students, but most students need these 2 items. They need the student guide to science inquiry, and this is something you can actually walk students through so they can see the different phases that we're going to go through. and you can talk about this with your students. And I actually printed this out and laminated it and gave it to my students so that they would have an example. And then this is so incredibly helpful. When your students get to that claim evidence reasoning, some of them will just freeze up because they don't know what to write. And that's why having this rubric is so incredibly helpful, so that students know what to write and they can really excel when it comes to writing their claim evidence and reasoning. So that's how I get started. Really, just a short, quick description, and lots of other resources for you here. The tutorials don't have any pre or post tests included with them, but all of our other activities, they are available if you want those multiple choice pre and post tests, and you can come here and just kind of peek at those. There's a number of videos that can help you just to make sure your tech is in order. You could give these to your IT person to make sure everything is ready. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or you would like some assistance. I'd be happy to help you. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.